To approve previous minutes. Mike, second by Paul, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Number one, it's going to be tabled to request for a sponsor. Number two, what are we doing with number two there?
Mr. Mendick's not here.
Mr. Mendick? Oh, table, okay, motion to table, or table to request a sponsor. Number three,
Mr. Higgins.
Mr. Higgins is not here, motion table by request of sponsor. Number four is 297, Mr. Grimm.
Yes.
What do you wish to do?
Yeah, I'd like to
This is authorizing a tax credit from the casino revenue to do a one-time payment credit to the people of Albany County.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The background on this is in order to put a casino in Schenectady, they had to agree to come up with a lot of money as a license fee, $50 million. And part of the agreement was neighboring counties would get a slice of the action. In our case, Albany County is going to get $1.7 million from that one-time licensing fee. To me, this tax credit proposal is a golden opportunity to ease the burden for taxpayers, because we're not asking any cut in any spending anywhere. This is a one-time fee coming from a license fee that's going to come to the county, and we have an opportunity to give that back to the taxpayers. It's $1.7 million. You know, when you consider the tax levy, property tax levy is about $90 million. That's about 2% of the levy. So it's not insignificant collectively. You're shifting $1.7 million from the hands of government into the hands of people. And I think it's a really good idea, and I hope you support it.
We're on the same page. We're just on. It's just a different book.
Different book.
We're wholeheartedly in support of keeping taxes down, taking this $1.7 million where it is right now, and keeping it so we can help maintain keeping property taxes down and still providing the services to the residents of Albany County. So we're just getting there a different way, but we're wholeheartedly in trying to keep the 1.7 million in keeping property taxes down and keeping it so we can use it as keep it stable. All indications for next year on sales tax revenue is going to be flat or off. So right now the money is sitting in a fund that could be used to help stabilize property taxes as once we start the budget process.
So you're saying use it as a reserve fund, essentially?
Yes, yes.
So then, to me, the question is, who gets to hold the money, the government or people? And I think it's a better alternative to have the people hold it, because, you know, we have a soft winter. We also have, I've noticed we have a lot of vacant lines in a lot of departments. So this is, as I say, one-time payment. It's a great opportunity to give a little relief for taxpayers because they really want it.
Well, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to give the property taxpayer a relief when we do this budget and maintaining it and keeping property taxes down as we have over the past 10 years. Mr. Mackey?
Just a couple of questions. You're not proposing to mail people a check or anything, right?
No, it would be a tax credit on your bill.
So it would it would just come off their tax bill at the end of the year?
Yeah, there'd be a lot of, like, there's like the STAR program is a good example.
Right.
You get your school tax bill, but you also get a credit for the STAR exemption.
So it would just be a separate line on their tax bill as a credit, and it would reduce it?
And they would pay less as a result.
Now, how would the effect of that be any different than if we didn't adopt this resolution? Wouldn't the money just go into revenues, and it would be the exact same result at the bottom line of the tax bill?
Not at all, because the government would be holding the money rather than the people. And I don't know what the government's going to do with the money. That remains to be seen. Here, I want to make a clear statement that the taxpayer will get money they could certainly use.
Well,
Putting in a reserve fund is a question. I don't know where that money's going to go.
well, that's where I'm unclear. You say that taxpayers would hold it, but you're not proposing to give it to the taxpayers, you're proposing to take it off their tax bill.
Yeah.
And isn't that exactly what would happen if we didn't do this and we just added it into revenues?
The tax credit.
The exact same bottom line.
No, it isn't. The tax credit defines clarity. It's saying, look, you're going to pay $1.7 million less on your tax bill this year because of that credit, as opposed to saying we're putting 1.7 in reserve and we're really not clear about what we're going to do with that.
Well, we're very clear. We're going to maintain, we're clear. We're very clear that we're going to maintain property taxes as best of our abilities based on the economic conditions that we're in. and still deliver Meals on Wheels to your constituents up in Gilderland, and make sure that we have these programs for the indigent throughout the county without having to raise property taxes double digit. That's what the money's gonna be used for.
Well, we have $600 million to take care of those needs.
Well, we don't. We don't have $600
Sure we
million.
do.
If you look at that budget, you can see that it's a very tight budget in the way that it is being allocated. Yes, sir, Mr. Chris.
Thank you. Whether or not one agrees with Mr. Grimm's formula here, I think it is certainly worthy of consideration, but I think that should be done as part of the budget process that we are beginning here. That money's not going to run away from us during the period of when we're negotiating the budget. And it would be, I think, a good opportunity to review Mr. Grimm's proposal as far as anybody else's proposal as to how these additional funds could be beneficial to the citizens. of the
Absolutely.
town.
Greg?
And I agree, I like this idea, but just like you said, I think it should be done. If that money's available after the budget process, then we can talk about that. I think we're gonna be putting on RFPs for healthcare. I think there's gonna be a lot of things that will be changing next year, so it may be a case where we may need that money too after the budget process, I don't know.
Right, it
So,
should all be part of the process.
So you want to move it forward?
I
or-
certainly do.
So,
Make a motion for negative recommendation, that's right.
I mean,
I have a motion that we
I think,
move the tax credit.
I'm sorry, what?
A motion that we move this tax credit to the floor.
Without recommendation?
Fine.
Second? Or with the negative recommendation? Whatever. So there's no second, so I make a motion, we move it with a negative recommendation. Do a second? Paul, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Of course, I'm voting no because I
So
don't
it's moved.
agree with the
Yeah, I mean,
negative
we're just-
recommendation.
We're getting it to the floor, see what happens. And, I mean, there's other resolutions here that have different ideas on how they want to spend the money too.
I understand
And I'm
that.
sure there's 39 different ideas on how we could spend the money. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Number 5 is Mr. Higgins.
I'm here. Mr. Higgins'
Position,
location, am
family,
I allowed?
position.
Well, unfortunately, the position of has been that the sponsor has to
The
be
lead
here.
sponsor.
The lead sponsor.
It's
So,
happened- It's happened to you, 2 nights.
it happened to me, with my own local law
I'll believe
resolution.
you.
And
Thank you.
So,
Read
that'd
it
be
again,
a
everybody.
motion to
We'll talk
table.
another time.
maybe Mr. Higgins will make it next month. But it happened to me too, Lynn. I had something on land and conservation on Tuesday where I could, so I got tabled. Local law I is the Sojourn lease agreement. Any questions?
I'll move it.
Move by Mike, second. Mr. J, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Number 7 is authorized conveyance of 233, 235 Seminole Avenue, Seminole. This was last month. It's adjoining property owner who owns the property now. So, any questions,
We have confirmation
Any questions?
that the individual's approved his
sir?
purchase the property, so it's ready to move.
Any questions? Motion to move it. Mike, second. Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Number 8, local law L, local law Winnie County imposing the occupancy tax on the hotel tax. Any questions on that? Mr.
Yes,
Grant?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I want to point out that this calls for a change in how this is distributed. The current arrangement has 1 cent of the 6 going to the Convention and Visitors Bureau, another cent going to Convention Center Authority,
It does
4
not
cents going to
change
Civic Center debt.
The law as it's always been written. There will be a change at some point based on the way the law has always been written. It's not a change to the law, it's a change. You're correct, but it's the law, we're renewing the exact law that's been in place for years.
But it's changing, according to this reading, when the Convention Center is completed,
That's
the
correct. but that's al-
distribution of the hotel tax will change
And that's always the way.
significantly.
That's correct, but that's always the way the thing has been written, and that's always been the intent. In fact, Albany County has benefited since 2008 because they didn't build the convention center down on Broadway and Hudson Avenue.
The Convention Center will get 3 of the 6 cents
That's
under the new
correct.
arrangement. Okay, we're not talking chump change, it was $8.44 million last year, the hotel
That
tax.
is the way the legislation was originally written by the state and has continued to be written that way. There is no change in the legislation. There is a change in the formula, but it's always been in the legislation.
What we're suggesting is we give half our hotel tax money to a state authority, which we do not control, as opposed, and reduce the amount of money to the Civic Center debt, a county building, which we do control.
We have no authority to enact the tax without the state approval. They have, in the past, given us that authority, and that is why this law is still sitting there, because they gave us the authority. We have no authority to impose any of this tax without the approval of the state legislature. They wrote the legislation, we're following the legislation.
Well, then let's propose different legislation.
To who, the state?
Yeah,
Well, go ahead.
So the state's gonna cut back their own revenues coming in.
well,
You think
why
that'll go
should,
anywhere up there?
why should we accept a
that'll go
deal that
anywhere
gives
up there?
more money to the state?
You're missing the point. The original deal was the state wanted the money, so they gave us part of it. And that's the deal that continues. It is not necessarily an Albany County tax. It is a tax that the state created for the convention center. Albany County got a piece of that, but it was always understood, and it was always stated in the legislation that when the thing was completed, the convention center, that it would be changed. That's been in the legislation for years. You can go check it.
Mr. Chairman, if memory serves me correctly, don't we have this before us every year?
That's correct.
So next year, when the change in the formula that Mr. Gray is referring to is, that will be part of whatever local law we have to approve, correct?
It's 2 years.
2 years.
It's 2 years.
2
It's a
years.
2-year cycle.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So we will have to approve that at that time, is
Yeah,
that correct?
yeah, we can review it again in 2 years. I agree with Mr. Graham.
Well, I do too.
As far as county tax, hotel tax money going to the state for a state facility. But we benefit tremendously from our other monies that we couldn't have before without this formula going forward and helping them generate some money to where they're at right now. I perfectly believe that Rensselaer County should be part of this with this state facility, because it's much easier to get on I-90 and get on those hotels up on 440 than it is Wolf Road. It's a lot closer. And they're not contributing anything. So, I mean, I think that we should reach out to our state elected officials to include Rensselaer County as far as the hotel tax for subsidizing this state facility here in Albany. Because they benefit probably just as much as the Albany hoteliers than the ones up on Wolf Road, because they're much closer. So we'll review that in 2 years, as it's still being constructed, so nothing's gonna change anyway within the law. But I think most of us are on the same page with
Yeah,
that.
I've had my say, thank you.
Motion to move it? Ray, seconded by Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Thank you. Number 9 is the mortgage recording tax. Any questions? Motion to move it? Mike, second. Rick, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
no.
No.
Thank you.
I'm going to vote no.
Public hearing in the Albany County Capital Program for 2016. Any questions on that? This is just the public hearing. Setting the public hearing.
I'll move it.
Motion by Mr. Mackey, seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
This is this is on the amendment to this year's capital plan, not, we have
I'm sorry,
several on.
For 2016.
Right, we have
Yeah, we have
several.
another. Number 11, amending the Albany County Capital Program for 2016.
Table.
That'll be tabled at the public hearing. Number 12 is bond resolution for the installation of new transformers and switching gears at the Times Union Center. This was a part of the capital program.
Yes.
Correct.
Mr. Latino is
Yeah.
going to, can explain this one. I'm better than you are, not to insult you.
No, please.
I'm not trying to insult you.
Let me just say this. Never interrupt the chairman.
I will not do that.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
General Services is looking for an amendment to the 2016 capital plan for a transformer switchgear project that was the resolution 521 for 2015. We're looking to add another $900,000 to the project. It was actually put out for $1.1 million at the time. After the We did our engineering and our studies and with the engineering firms, the bids came back quite a bit higher than we had thought originally that we were going to get. There's a lot of relocation underground, there's some stormwater work we have to do there, and that's the reason why we're requesting the extra $900,000 in bonding.
Any questions? Motion to move it? Mr. Joyce, second. Mr. Clay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
13, authorizing direction to Board of Elections to certify its expenses regarding the 2015 election cycle. What do we got here from?
Mr. Chairman,
Any questions on this from anybody?
Can I?
Yes, Pat.
There's a misprint on that. It's actually the legislature is going to be certifying the expenses. We have received the expenses from the Board of Elections, and the legislature is going to go forward with them.
Any questions?
I do.
Mr. Graham?
This came up years ago when I was on the Gilliland Town Board.
Yes.
The actual cost of elections was one figure, I can't remember, something, say 60,000, and our chargeback was 80,000, because it was based not on the actual cost, but on assessed value for the town. And are we still following that same formula? Because it's unclear to me in this literature if that's formula is being followed.
It's broken down by Board of Elections. I would actually have to get back to the charges.
It's actual charges.
It's actual money.
It's actual charges at this point.
It is
Has it
actual charges.
changed?
Yeah, it's not apportioned anymore.
So it has changed to
It's
actual?
the actual charges, right.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Motion to move it?
Thanks, so.
Mr. Joyce, second. Mr. Clay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. We're going to number 14, Resolution 99 for 2016 regarding professional architectural engineer services for renovations at the nursing home. Any questions from anybody? Motion to move it? Mr. Mackey, second. Mr. Clay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you, Mr. Slappy.
Thank you very much.
Now we're going into
Much
volume
obliged,
number
Dave.
2. Volume 2. Authorizing an agreement with M&T Bank for banking services. This was authorized in review by Controller Connors, and it's his opinion that we should award M&T Bank our banking services. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Go ahead, this one.
Nope, that's fine.
Do we have an estimate as to what that costs us? What those banking services cost?
This year, M&T are going to charge us a compensating balance of $35 million, which means that we don't get interest on $35 million. That is the cost.
So they hold the funds for us, but they don't pay us any interest?
We don't get interest on that money. We get interest on all the other funds that we have in money market accounts. The other banks, they were either more or costs were much more.
And that 35 million figure is chosen, why?
I'm sorry?
Why is that 35 million figure chosen?
That was the figure that M&T proposed that it would cost for the services to Albany County.
Okay.
So what would be the total savings by going with M&T? Do you know?
Well, there was five proposals. Bank of America wanted to charge us $120 million in compensating balance.
Can you explain what compensating balance is?
Yes, it's the services, all the services that they provide, they want payment for it. So, $35 million, we do not get interest on. They'll use the money. And, so that's basically the cost of services.
We do get interest on the balance of the money that we have in that, correct?
On all
All the rest.
money in money market accounts, we get interest on.
Yes.
Mr. Clay?
Is that a common practice with all the banks?
Yes,
They use that kind of a formula, huh?
correct. Key Bank, Bank of America, M&T.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Connors explained that M&T provides more services at a better value than the other proposals. Is that correct?
The larger banks basically have all the same services. You know, some banks don't provide some services, or, but basically they all have the same service.
Any other questions? Motion to move it. Mr. Miller, second. Mr. Mackey, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you very much.
16, a conveyance of 130 Lark Street, 238 Orange Street in the city of Albany for Habitat for Humanity Capital District. This is a continuation of all the good work that they're doing. Any questions on this? Motion to move it. Mr. Mackey, second by Mr. Trichet, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Number 17, authorizing agreement with St. Catherine Center for Children regarding conveyance of 543 North Pearl, City of Albany. They want to do a new shelter there. Any questions? Motion to move it. Mr. Mackey, second. Mr. Clay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Number 18, approving the 2017-2021 capital program. We had a public hearing on this. Nobody came and spoke. Are there any questions? Motion to move it? Yes, Bill.
Mr. Chairman, exactly what does that mean? That all the vacant properties in the cities and the towns automatically go to the land bank? Is that-
Oh, no, we're on 18. That'll be next. That'll be the next one. That's 19, the land bank. Or, no, I'm sorry. 20 is the land bank.
We're on the capital plan.
We're on the capital
Yeah.
plan right now. We're on number 18.
Oh, we're on 18?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, but we'll answer that when we get to it. Any questions on the capital plan? Yes, Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It says that this does not commit the county to any particular project, so it's just a blueprint going forward about what our expectations are?
Absolutely. Years ago, we never, for years, we never had a capital plan. We never had a 5-year plan. And then we come up with it, I think it was 2 charters ago, and to have a capital plan, and ever since then, we've had a capital plan, so.
And you can adjust it accordingly as times change?
Yeah, it's like,
As you just
We just adjusted one.
yeah, like we're doing right now. We did one already in the capital plan.
Okay.
The capital plan is just so that we have a blueprint
Right.
of what we want to do, and as we move forward in Albany County on major projects, and how we're going to fund it, and look forward to how we're going to get the revenues to do that. And that's what it is. It's a blueprint.
Okay. Thanks.
Any questions? Motion to move it? Mr. Joyce, second. Mr. Mackey, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. 19 is conveyance of 100A Woodgrove Drive in the town of Colony to the West Albany Rod and Gun Club. These guys are abutting property owners, 20 feet on one side for about 100. They've been maintaining it for the last 8 to 10 years. So, and they're gonna pay all the
Taxes.
back taxes on it, so, yes.
Mr. Chairman, just for full disclosure, I am a member of that club, so I will be abstaining from this vote.
You're not packing, right? Because I know there's one guy at this table is.
Not tonight.
Depending on the vote.
No, so I can't really speak either way on it.
Thank you, Mr. Any other questions?
Gary, check his ankle.
Motion approved. Mr. Joyce, second. Mr. Clay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
One abstention, right?
One abstention.
And one abstention, I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Number 20 is, we're going to table, this is the land bank. Like Bill was saying earlier, there's a lot of properties on there that we want to review. And Bill, your question is, no, the land bank does not automatically get all the properties that come up. It's up to the legislature to approve what properties they're going to receive. And there are some questions that some people have on the list that's out there now. And so for that, we'll table it until their questions are all answered.
Does
Yes,
this committee commonly decide that?
I'm sorry?
Does this committee commonly decide that, or does it go to any other committee usually?
Usually the
Those kinds of
finance
decisions.
committee would oversee that.
Just so everybody knows, these are the 09-10 lean years only. So the property's only from the 09-10 lean years in the city of Albany.
These are city voting, then we have another resolution for the towns.
It's
So
also
we're gonna
on the
table
agenda.
both them.
Yeah.
Motion to table, 2021, Ray, second by Mr. Mackey, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Number 22 is amending the Albany County budget temporary helpline. That's our line we had for our intern programs. We need to put a few more dollars in there. Any questions? Motion to move it. Mr. Trezay, second by Mr. Clay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? And I think that's it.
That's it.
Thank you, everyone. Motion adjourned. Mr. Miller, second by Mr. Mackey.
I don't know
Thank
if
you.
you